great players, they have a great organization, and you tell them one thing, baby.
What is good, Raider Nation? It's your boy Raider Alex back with yet another video for you guys. Anybody that's new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Also make sure to hit that bell notification, that way you get notified every time I post a video just like this one. Without further ado, let's jump right into the topic of this video. With the Raiders and star running back Josh Jacobs still unable to come to terms on a long-term contract, this has the whole fan base of the Las Vegas Raiders split on what the Raiders should do when it comes to this specific situation. Now, Josh Jacobs is a team captain of this team and had his best year of his career last season in a contract season. Josh Jacobs rushed for over 1,600 rushing yards, led the whole National Football League. He rushed for 12 touchdowns, had over 2,000 all-purpose yards. So look, Jacobs was clearly a huge component to the Raiders offense last season, and hopefully he can continue to be part of this team moving forward. But at the same time, it's a tough situation for running backs all around the league at this point in time. Teams all around the National Football League are just very hesitant to signing running backs to a long-term deal, and unfortunately this just is not going to help Josh Jacobs get paid. Now in this video, I wanted to dive into some of the tape from last season and analyze the success, the dominant season of Josh Jacobs on the ground in his career year. And I really just wanted to focus on, let's look at the tape, let's just see how much of the success last season from Josh Jacobs was due to the scheme and the blocking up front from the offensive line, and how much of it was just great individual plays from Josh Jacobs. You know, hopefully after watching this video, you will get a better understanding of what you think the Raiders should do with Jacobs moving forward. But look, let's jump right into the film. This first play right here against the Kansas City Chiefs on the road on Monday Night Football. Look right here, great blocking up front from Thayer Munford and our fullback Jakob Johnson doing a great job creating a big hole for Jacobs to hit and run for about 5 yards on first down. On this next play right here, I do like the motion here by Davante Adams, but the Kansas City cornerback did have a free rush to bring down Josh Jacobs, but that's a lot easier said than done. Josh Jacobs makes him miss, and with the motion from Davante Adams, this creates so much space and running room for Jacobs. Right here, the offensive line does a great job creating push, and this lead block from tight end Jesper Horsted allows Josh Jacobs the ability to just walk into the end zone for an easy touchdown. Right here, another great example of beautiful blocking from our offensive line. Look at how big the hole is for Jacobs right here. Gets a great lead block from our fullback, and Jacobs also does a good job making the first guy miss, which allows him to get even more yards. Now on this next play right here, I got to give the bulk of the credit to Josh Jacobs. Let's just pause it right here. Most guys would hit the hole to Jacobs' right, but Josh Jacobs has the patience and the vision to see the opening to his left-hand side where there is almost nobody on Kansas City's side. So by hitting this hole to his left, this allows him to get a big gain, and you just got to love the intensity from Josh Jacobs on this hit. Puts his head down and sends a direct message to the opposing defense, letting them know that he's come to play tonight. Now right here, we can see a good play call from this blocking scheme. We double team both the interior defensive linemen, which creates a huge hole right down the middle, and our fullback does a great job leading Jacobs the way for almost 10 yards on this run. Right here on this next play, let's just look at the buildup on this nice run, on this nice gain. Thayer Munford does a good job sealing the edge. Jermaine Loomer wins his one-on-one battle, and Johnson once again does a good job leading Jacobs with his blocks. This allows Jacobs to go almost 8 yards untouched, and Jacobs has that great ability to almost always make that first tackler miss. Another good job by the offensive line right here, creating a lane for Jacobs to run through, but this play would have been a 5-yard gain with most other running backs. But Josh Jacobs here can make the first guy miss, and he turns this into a huge chunk play for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, one thing I did notice from Josh Jacobs this season was it felt like he got a little bit more involved and was able to succeed in the passing game coming out of the backfield. McDaniels, I think, did a good job getting him more involved in these type of plays. It allowed Jacobs to have over 2,000 all-purpose yards, but this play right here is a great play design with good blocking, and Jacobs shows how good he can be when he has the ball in his hands in open space. And right here, just another great example of the great vision that Josh Jacobs possesses. Most guys will just keep running straight, maybe get 5 yards on this play, but instead he sees that cutback lane and almost gets 10 yards out of this. Now in this next game against Denver, another huge hole created by this offensive line, which almost gets a first down, gets a gain of 9 yards. Now right here we see Josh Jacobs down in the red zone. The O-line definitely does their part, does their job, but Jacobs once again is just so good at making that first guy miss, and he has the aggressiveness to put his head down and just demand his way into that end zone. Look, not every running back can make guys miss and get yards after the contact as good as Josh Jacobs does. Now this next play right here, this is just a spectacular individual effort and skill from Josh Jacobs on this one. Realistically, this should have been a very short game, but Jacobs does a great job with this spin move. He evades the pressure immediately, and after that he can make another guy miss, and after that he's off to the races for a huge gain on the ground from Josh Jacobs. So right here we got to give the credit all to Josh. He made really something out of nothing. Great play right there. And once again, we see Josh Jacobs down inside the red zone. And once Jacobs gets close to the end zone, if you can get some good blocking out front, it's going to be very difficult for opposing teams to bring him down before he really finds his way into the end zone. On this next game against Seattle, where he had a terrific performance, we can see on this first play just a great play design right here and blocking up front. First with a misdirection handoff to Jacobs, and after that just look at the hole that O-line creates between Jermaine Eluemunor and Foster Moreau right there. That's just beautiful. This allows the Raiders offense to get a nice little gain right here and establish a rhythm on this touchdown drive early in the game. Right here, another great example of a great just individual effort from Josh Jacobs. The blocking is good, but thanks to Jacobs, this is 6 points. He makes one guy miss. After that, he stiff arms a defensive lineman and he just takes it to the house. Look, it's not going to be easy to replace a guy that can make these type of plays like he did right here. Now in this play right here, this is just a big play and big situation in the game. This is a 4th and 2 right before halftime. And we can see here Mack Hollins, he does a decent job sealing the edge, but Jacobs is still met against the cornerback right before the first down marker. But with that little feint that Josh Jacobs does, it allows him just enough space and hesitation from the defensive player to get that first down marker. So I really got to give this play to Josh Jacobs. Another great job right here, once again, up front. Another big hole in between Jermaine Eluemunor and Foster Moreau for a solid gain on first down. Right here, another big play, a big crucial situation for the Raiders on a 3rd and 2. A quick pitch play. We get it to the outside to Josh Jacobs, and Seattle's Quandre Diggs is in a position to make a play. He goes for a big hit, trying to bring down Josh Jacobs, but Jacobs makes him miss and gets a crucial first down for us. Now right here, good play call from Josh McDaniels. I think he does a good job putting Jacobs in a great position to succeed in this play right here, getting him the ball and really just getting the ball to the hot hand, which in this specific game was clearly Josh Jacobs, who had over 300 total yards. But look at all the space McDaniels is able to draw up here by having Foster Moreau and Jacob Johnson go deep on these vertical routes, which after that just allows Jacobs with so much space to make this route. And after he catches this pass, he just has so much running room and gets a huge gain on this. Right here, another great example of just the great vision and patience that Josh Jacobs has. It's almost as if at times he can just see stuff in slow motion. He does a good job finding that cutback lane and gets a nice little gain right here. And last but not least, the play of the game for Josh Jacobs right here and for the Raiders. Right here, it's a combination of two things for this play. First, let's just talk about the offensive line. This is just great textbook blocking up front from the line. If you look at it, Jacobs goes almost 20 yards before even being touched, and after that, he makes the last man miss, which after that allows him the ability to get that 86-yard walk-off touchdown for a win in overtime. So with all this tape being watched, what kind of conclusions can we make? Look, in my opinion, I think Josh Jacobs' success last season definitely was influenced to a certain degree by the play calling and the blocking up front last season. Now look, I'm not out here saying that we got the best offensive line in the whole league, but let's put some respect on their name when it comes to run blocking. You know, at times throughout the season last year, they really dominated on the ground and created those lanes and big holes for Jacobs to run through. After seeing the way they blocked, it's really not a surprise to see how well Jacobs did rushing, leading the entire National Football League. I was overall pretty impressed with this line's ability to create holes against the run, but at the same time, I gotta give Josh Jacobs some credit too, because he did show a lot of great plays that it's not gonna be very easy to replace a guy like that immediately. Some of Josh Jacobs' best attributes, as we've seen on tape, is his vision and finding the holes, those cutback lanes that just allow him to get even more yards than most other running backs would get. He's absolutely a nightmare when it comes to yards after the contact. He's just not an easy guy to bring down immediately for opposing defenses. He can drop his shoulder when needed. He's got good physicality. He's got good footwork. And he does well with those feints to make those guys miss. He just does very well in this aspect. And personally, I think the McDaniels offense and Josh Jacobs really together are a really good fit moving forward. And I think Jacobs, if he can continue to be in this offense, he can continue to dominate and have big numbers. But obviously the biggest dilemma right now is that contract situation. With all this being said, I would like Jacobs to be back next season, but I think he will get franchise tag and play next season. But I will say after that, I'm not too sure what's going to happen with the long-term future of Josh Jacobs in the silver and black. I can definitely understand why the Raiders front office is taking things a little bit slow, being a little bit hesitant on paying Josh Jacobs and essentially playing hardball with Jacobs throughout this contract negotiations, as really everybody throughout the league is doing the same thing as well. The market for running backs is just not there right now. Nobody in the league is handing out big contracts to running backs, and although it would be a blow to lose Josh Jacobs, we also got to understand that replacing a running back is not nearly as difficult as replacing other positions in this league, like the quarterback, for example. And if the Raiders offensive line can continue to block and dominate up front on the ground like they did last year, we should be able to continue to be pretty effective on the ground. We might not be as dominant as we were this season, since we just had a great player in Josh Jacobs, and it will take some time to find a running back that's as good, or who knows, maybe you could find somebody better down the road. But I also don't see it being the end of the world if for some reason Josh Jacobs isn't here down the road. It's not the most ideal thing, but it's something we have to consider, and maybe it's something that's going to happen in the future. We'll just have to see how everything plays out. And with a little less than a month before that July 17th deadline when it comes to franchise tagging a player, I think really everything is trending towards the fact that the Raiders are going to use the franchise tag on Josh Jacobs moving forward. I think he's going to be back next season. It'll be interesting to see how well he does next year. But Raider Nation, I want to know what you guys think of Josh Jacobs down below. Let me know in the comment section. Anybody that's new to the channel, you guys love Raider related content just like this, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That being said, I will see you guys in the next one.